At the Craven Cottage, it was Fulham versus Arsenal. I remember vividly asking Kanute about that very game. Of course, he said hopefully a repeat of last season it doesn't come. And of course, Manchester Arsenal they visited the Craven Cottage. So we exactly know what happened last campaign. And unfortunately, this time Arsenal, despite the postponement of the Merseyside derby, they were supposed to find a way to close up the gap. But unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. That game ended in a 1-1 draw. Sunday Bobo, Arsenal, when you say they are back contending for the titles, one or two things happen, and of course, they drop a point. Arsenal Football Club unable to get desired point at the Craven Cottage on Sunday. What is actually wrong with Arsenal this time?
I think going to Fulham to play is not an easy. We saw what happened last season when Arsenal visited them. It has not been easy for Arsenal going that way, but it was looking likely that Arsenal were getting it because in the first half, Arsenal were dominating when the game started. Then later on, they just had one chance and they were able to put the ball at the back of the net. Like, what really happened? Making that run and taking what a good finish from Raul Jimenez. He was able to put the ball behind the net, and Arsenal came back. They were trying to do something, but when it was just looking like Arsenal have gotten the equalizer, of course VAR came in and intervened. But for me, I feel Arsenal getting a draw in that game was a good one because Fulham are not just you can't just go there and get that win against them. Let's not forget how their players are. How do we play? Of course, we have two former players for Arsenal who are playing for the Smith Rowe and Iwobi. They really did their part in that particular game. But Arsenal getting that, if the draw was okay, for me, I think it was okay because it's not easy for you to go there and get the win. But as a title contender, you got to try to get win. Yes, any means possible to get the win if you want to contest for the league. And right now, it's looking like okay, Arsenal would have closed, maybe get a 3 point and close the gap a little bit. But right now, it's not looking that way. But it's all good because they were able to get a point. They didn't lose the game.
Kanute, looking at the Arsenal lineup, would you say there were players that ought not to start that very game? Mikel Arteta, or he never learned from what happened last campaign?
No, I think it was the player that was available that actually he used. I think Zinchenko that started the left back against Manchester United got injured. Yeah, so I think he had to. Probably he didn't trust Tierney. He didn't want to use the youngster. The he has a long name. So he decided to go with Partey at right back. That was what probably we expected from him. If any player gets injured, Partey will fill in at the right back, and then Jorginho will come back. Either Jorginho, depends on the situation, or Rice, then Merino. But he decided to use Jorginho. I think it was a very difficult match. Fulham is not an easy side. They are strong side to break down. We saw, like Sonny said,
a strong side to break down that we are annihilated by Gary on this side. Have we forgotten so quickly?
It's a different ball game. No, when they want to play a different side, it's a different situation entirely. I think you saw this.
Whenever they are playing at the top side,
yeah, exactly.
It's a different mentality entirely.
Exactly. They don't shut up when they meet this same side. This same side that went to everything that annihilated.
Exactly.
Where they are. So I think it doesn't go that way. So Fulham always, when they miss it, they said, don't forget it's a London derby. They always want to make it difficult. They always want to turn up. And as Sonny said, I think the one chance they had the first half, it was probably from a slip from Kivior. Probably if Gabriel was in that situation, probably he wouldn't have allowed that guy to run that way. But it happens. Kivior, one mistake, it happens in football. And Arsenal almost got the win, but I think VAR offside, just a slight offside.
Very
probably
offside is offside.
Yeah, exactly. So, just as corner is part of football. So if offside leads you to cancellation of goal, a corner kick leads you to get a win. So I think, but to me, I think it's a good draw. If you watch the match, you know how difficult it was for Arsenal to break that. Saka was tripled. Was the number 4?
Exactly,
and Robertson did a good job.
Havertz was not even in the game.
No, Havertz was nowhere to be found. I think if I find out,
would have done something.
If I find out a problem that is someone that was not effective, I will put the Havertz position. I think Havertz as a 9, as a striker, there are ways you need to be, there are places you need to be, there are a lot of work you need to do, which Havertz actually, to me personally, is falling short. I think that is the only player that fell short in that game, because I think the rest put in the shift. They did everything they should do, but Fulham a decent side. They defended well. It was a well coached. What was his name? Marco Silva side is always a well coached side. So I think kudos to Fulham. They did well, and I think at the end of the year, it was disappointing that they couldn't get it after the upside that happened. But the 1 point, I think they didn't lose the game. I think they will be they'll be at least a bit satisfied that at least they didn't lose like they lost the last season.
And looking at Arsenal, of course, last year 2023 they scored 15 corners. Yes, 15 corners. Arsenal scored last year. Of course, it was a record, and of course this year 2024 they record that very record. 2024 is yet to come to an end. They record equal that record, scoring 15 corners. Are you seeing Arsenal surpassing that record before the end of this campaign?
Well, if they have the opportunity to surpass it, why not? They'll surpass it. Up till now, we were talking about set piece, corner, free kick, penalty kick. They are all set piece, and Arsenal is not even the team leading in goals.
I'm specific with corner. Corner kick, not set piece in general. Yes, I'm not including free kicks and others.
Just specifically.
Okay, Chelsea won to score 2 goals yesterday with penalty kicks.
That's penalty.
Yeah, silly penalty kick.
I think we were just talking about.
Is that even worse when you consider a silly penalty kick than a corner kick that was gotten out of pressure? So I think if corner kicks if corners are illegal, definitely other teams will look for it to equalize games or score games or win games. Not for us will score. So if corner kicks are ways to score goals and win matches are tight, why not score with corners? Corner kicks it's not a crime.
Sonny Bobo, Fulham, they are the only side Arsenal. They've played multiple times in the English Premier League since the start of last campaign. They are yet to get a win. Of course, they won none of those games. They drew 2 and lost 1. Who regards the Cottagers as a boogie team for Arsenal currently?
Every team, even in other leagues, have this one team who are not there at the top, but always giving them a tough time whenever they play them. There was a time Stoke City was a turn on teams' flesh whenever they get to play them. So Fulham has always been that against Arsenal. Aston Villa, I'm trying to remember the team that they play. So whenever they made West Ham, whenever they made Manchester United, it's always difficult for Manchester United to go again. So Fulham are always there to stop Arsenal, and they did that last season, and this season they've done it again. So it's always difficult when Arsenal play them, and Arsenal were able to get a win. Like I said earlier, I think it's a good one for them.
All right,
forward.
Yes,
getting
Arsenal
a draw.
Football Club, unfortunately, visiting the Craven Cottage, they were unable to get the desired 3 points. Of course, that they dropped 2 points that was supposed to take them higher, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. We don't regard the Cottagers as the boogie team for Arsenal Football Club, or is it just one of those things that happen? Of course, Thomas Partey playing from the right back, has he ever worked well when they meet the Cottagers? It's a very big question, begging for answers. Mikel Arteta, are they currently title contenders or title pretenders? We'll get to know when the season officially comes to a close.